Hello everyone. Today we are here with Michael from Oman Air. Hi Michael, how are you?
That's right. Must see.
So coming to my first question, how is Oman Air adapting its service to cater specifically to the demands of cross-border e-commerce shipments?
We've been carrying a lot of small parcels for a long time now. So actually, we haven't found it too much different. And the way that we're geared up with our fleet and the kind of customers that we have, it's something that we're very used to carrying anyway. So we haven't seen that much difference in the way we've needed to gear up for it. I think perhaps there's just that little bit more demand, which is sort of put the emphasis on it for us.
So, what digital platforms or tools has Oman Air deployed to streamline e-commerce logistics, and how are they performing?
Yeah, so we have a cargo platform as one of the ones that's popular in the business, SmartKargo. SmartKargo actually is well known for its capabilities of managing this kind of e-commerce business. Having said that, we're also looking at other platforms in the market at the moment to see if we can streamline that. But certainly, we're already very well geared up for it. SmartKargo has all the needs that we have to deal with the shipments. And it also helps us to work closely with the e-commerce companies for their requirements for data tracking, etc.
So, with the growth of e-commerce in the Middle East and especially in Oman, what are the key infrastructure or network enhancement Oman Air is making to support the growth?
Well, I guess the main thing to say in Muscat, we've invested heavily in our airport not so long ago, only 5, 6, 7 years ago. And it's in terms of capacity and size, both for the passenger terminal, the runways, and the cargo building, we've got a lot of spare capacity. The cargo building's quite modern, new, with good equipment inside it. So it actually we got that at the right timing, the right thing. So we haven't necessarily had to specifically change anything. The facility is already very modern and allows us the space and capability to move shipments through quickly. We work closely with the local ROP, the Royal Oman Police, and the customs to make sure that if we need to do pre-alerts or pre-clearance, that we have all those facilities in place. So it's quite a tight infrastructure of Oman airports, the Oman Air, Oman Transom, and the cargo handler as well. So we all work quite closely together.
So, how does Oman Air manage the last mile and first mile connectivity challenges for e-commerce shipments coming into or leaving Oman?
What we find in Oman is that we don't really deal specifically as Oman Air with first mile or last mile. But we do have a company, a partner company in Oman called Asiad. Asiad was set up specifically, I think, in 2017 to deal with e-commerce business and specifically across the Middle East. It's an Oman-based company, but with the Middle East infrastructure challenge to it. And hence, we're trying to use Muscat as a bit of an e-commerce hub. So cargo coming in especially from the East, and then into the Middle East using Oman Air to distribute. Or on the ground from Oman into Saudi or into UAE through ground infrastructure.
So, e-commerce often requires more agility and flexibility, for example, handling many small shipments rather than large full freighters. How is Oman Air Cargo adjusting its aircraft utilization, route planning, or handling processes accordingly?
Well, we haven't really had to adjust anything. Most e-commerce, even though it's small packages, does come in, if it's moving in bulk, it comes in bigger boxes or bigger carriers. Having said that, we also have a narrow body passenger fleet anyway. So a lot of our cargo that we move through Muscat is already loose cargo, small boxes and loose packages. So actually, it's just more of the same, but slightly different commodities. So actually, we haven't had to change very much.
What partnerships with e-commerce platforms, fulfillment centers, airports, or digital logistic provider is Oman Air engaged in or exploring to strengthen its e-commerce value chain?
Well, I mentioned Asiad already, so it's our local Oman partners, and they also have partnerships with various companies in the UK and Asia and Europe. So really, we sit behind that, and then of course, most of the forwarding customers we have, they have a lot of e-commerce customers behind that too. So we found that we don't necessarily have to be going directly to the big e-commerce players at the moment, because Muscat's a much smaller hub, a much smaller airline environment. So we get that through secondary feed from freight forwarders as our customers mainly.
So this company you mentioned also handles that returns and reverse packages.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Right. So sustainability and cost efficiency are increasingly important in e-commerce logistics. What sustainable initiatives or cost optimization strategies has Oman Air introduced in its e-commerce operations?
Well, I wouldn't say anything specific to e-commerce because all of our air freight that we carry, we're worried about the sustainability of it. And look at Oman Air and its aircraft fleet.
Right.
We only operate very new aircraft. I think our aircraft averages around 5 years or something, 787s and 737 MAX aircraft, and mostly belly cargo as well. So belly cargo is a byproduct of the passenger business. So
Right.
in itself is very sustainable because it's using up available capacity. As a company and with our partners in Muscat Airport, we're investing where we can in sustainable technologies. We have now some electric vehicles even on the ground on the airport. So we're looking at all of that. I wouldn't necessarily say anything specific to e-commerce, but we as a country and a company, we're doing what we can to keep up with everybody in terms of new technology and those kind of things.
So, like apart from e-commerce, if I come to transportation of live animals and a cold chain supply, what kind of infrastructure and solutions?
As I said, our cargo terminal is very new. So we have significant capabilities to carry cold chain, whether it's from very low temperature to medium temperature. In fact, the whole of our cargo building is actually air conditioned anyway, at less than 25 degrees. So a lot of capability to handle small, cold, temperature sensitive goods, pharma as well. And then we have a specific AVI center that's purpose designed to handle whether it's livestock, horses, dogs and cats. So we actually have a separate facility for that. And with on-site vets that come to check things, and everything's set up for the whole infrastructure of Muscat Airport.
So looking ahead, what are the major challenges and opportunities you foresee for Oman Air in e-commerce segment over the next 3 to 5 years, and how is the company positioning itself to capitalize on them?
Well, I think one of the big challenges now is the capacity that we have in Oman Air, mainly being in our bellies. So we're looking to see if we can get some main deck freighter capability, so that we'll be able to get more into, let's say, the traditional Hong Kong, China e-commerce markets. So that will give us more capacity to fulfill the Muscat hub and distribution. So capacity, I think, is one of the key challenges for everybody. And then, look, I think it's no secret that cost is always the big challenge, because especially now with tariff pricing pressures on goods, then the next pressure to maintain competitiveness obviously is going to come down on us in terms of what's the final cost of the delivered packages to the customers. So there'll be all sorts of pressure on the cost of carriage as well.
So ITA recently released the manual for transportation of live animals, large verification. So how challenging is to adapt to the new guidelines?
We don't see any difficulty in it because everything we've always done has been in line with IATA requirements. The way that the infrastructure in Oman Air has been established over the years has been very much with IATA-driven advisories, consultancies, and so the setup is actually all very much in line. We're not the kind of infrastructure to try and lead and change things. So we'll very much follow what the industry's best standards and best practices are.
Right.
And we have quite a strong local culture of trying to meet those requirements.
Right. I think that is all. Thank you so much for speaking with us.
All right.
Thank you. Because